Welcome to Talkin' Shit, the podcast where we get real about the unfiltered truths women face in the quest for perfection. I'm Jana, your host, a dietitian and fellow woman navigating the pressure to have it all together, the perfect body, career, relationships, and making it all look effortless. Who set that standard anyway? Here, we're calling out the diet fads, hustle culture, beauty standards, and everything else that keeps us feeling stuck. But we're not just venting, we're diving into how to break free and rewrite the rules on your terms. So, grab a coffee or a glass of wine and let's talk some shit. Together, we'll uncover how to live a life that's unapologetically yours. This is Talkin' Shit. Let's dive in. All right, everyone. I am so excited. Welcome to today's podcast, Talkin' Shit. I have Jaclyn and Laura with Shine Image Consulting with me today. And I am so excited. Like, we were just on briefly before we hit record, and we're going to talk all this shit today. And it's going to be fantastic because this is something that I feel more women need to hear. And you guys are just so open and honest and real and authentic when it comes to this space, and you make women shine. You are part of my journey, and I'm just so thankful that our paths have crossed. So thank you so much for being here today. Let's do a little intro. Tell them who you are, and we'll get into it.
Oh, Jana, that's so nice. I started to get a tear in my eye. Just watching you on your podcast, shining with confidence. I just love seeing it.
I know, we've been you for almost a year, and I feel like it's not, I would say totally different version of you, but it's like the version of you unlocked, which is cool.
Yes.
Thank you.
So I'm Jaclyn, and on the podcast with me is my best friend and fellow co-founder of Shine Image Consulting. We are fellow corporate America dropouts who were and who still are obsessed with everything style and fashion. And we coached hundreds and hundreds of men and women in corporate America. And we decided to leave after being there for, a combined 35 years to combine both those passions together, combine our love of fashion and style with coaching men and women and helping them elevate their image through style and increasing their self-confidence and their self-esteem. And we've been at it for over 2 years. We're going on our third year in 2025, which is just unbelievable. And, I feel like I sound like a t-shirt, but Laura and I are living the dream. I mean, this is a vision that we dreamed about and we've executed, and just being able to work with so many men and women from all over the country and really changing the game when it comes to image, specifically around style and fashion, and helping men and women step into the next version of themselves when it comes to style and fashion, because it is a very saturated, convoluted industry. And Laura and I are here really to disrupt it so that men and women look in the mirror and they're like, gosh, I look good, whether they're in sweatpants or a tux or suit or dress. And when they truly, truly feel joy when they walk into their closet again. We're excited to stir some shit up, right, Laura?
Yes. Yeah. So excited. So excited. Yeah. So where should we begin then?
Well, I feel like there's a lot of shit to talk about, the work that we do. I think probably one of the number one things that we really like to focus on is just dispelling a lot of myths about image, confidence, clothing sizes, and just the fashion industry. So we could talk about so many things, but I think particularly for the work that we do, I think there's oftentimes a connotation about what it is. And we often spend a lot of time orienting our clients and prospective clients around what it is and what it is not to really work on your image. So that's a long way of saying there's a lot of shit that
Yeah. Can we start with the sizes? Because I feel like this is one that so many women and men, like you guys said, struggle with. Is so many women are like, well, I need to be this size, or I need to get back into this size of pant. And sizes are ridiculous. They change every 2 seconds. Every brand is different. Even like you guys were saying, 40 years ago, a size 10 is not the same 10 that it is today. Where did this all come from? And why are we so obsessed with the size of our pants or our shirts to signify essentially we're okay?
One of the beautiful things about the fashion industry, especially now, is that we have a really wide net and exposure to retailers across the world. So we have access in a way that we've never ever had before. And there's a lot of beauty and really, really great things with that. With that comes complexity in terms of sizing. Like Europeans size differently than the Japanese do versus Americans. And so that alone, like the international influence has been huge on, frankly, just size charts. We will often hear, though, like men and women will be really, like what we say, held hostage to the number that they want to be wearing, the number and or the size. And the reality is it really doesn't matter, because the size that was 40 years ago oftentimes is not the case. Like, let's pick on J. Crew as an example. What is it, Jack? The size 4 of 15 years ago is now the size 8.
That's right. That's right.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's just one brand. Or like, let's pick on Zara. Like, I don't know, if you've shopped at Zara, anyone else has shopped at Zara, but oftentimes in the tag, like the size tag, will say like small, medium, large, whatever. And then it will have a shape next to it. It'll have like a circle, a square, or a triangle.
Mm-hmm.
What those shapes signify is whether it's oversized, true to size, or smaller than the size that's written.
What?
So you could pick up a large, I don't know, pant, and if it has I think it's a square next to it, that means it's an oversized pant. So it's bigger than the actual size.
And Zara is a company from Spain. So their sizing is already different from the US. So putting that aside, not even taking into consideration the shapes.
Yep. So it's like, those are just 2 examples of 2 retailers where it's like, it does not matter. Like Spanx is a big brand that we love. I own 3 different sizes of clothes that I wear today in Spanx.
Mm-hmm.
A medium, a 1X, and an extra large. Like, help me understand how that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's we use those as examples with our clients because we'll often hear like, oh, what size is that? If it's not my, the size I once wore, like I don't want to wear it, because it immediately gets into the psyche that it's not right for them. And we honestly work really hard to get them out of that thinking.
And I think it's Laura is so spot on, because we'll have clients who will say, like, they'll put something on and they'll look in the, because we'll style them, they'll look in the mirror and they'll be like, oh my gosh, I love this. Like, I love the way I look. We'll ask them a lot of questions like, how do you feel? Where do you see yourself wearing this? What do you think of it? Really like more emotionally driven questions about the outfit and how they feel, because that's our goal, is when they, is based on how they feel, right? And then we'll be like, great, like that's amazing. And so we'll ask them to take it off and we'll like pack it up and we'll keep track. And they're like, oh, what size is that? And we'll tell them the size. And sometimes you can see like their demeanor change, because they're like, oh, I didn't realize like I was that size, or oh, that's bigger than I thought, or it's the other way, like, oh, that's smaller than I thought. And then they almost get like happy a little bit. And Laura and I really have to spend time with them of not only explaining why it doesn't matter because of everything Laura just went through about the sizing and the way that global just manufacturing works, but also the reality that like, who's actually looking at the size before you put it on? Like, and if you're tying yourself to that size and you're holding yourself hostage to that size, we really have some other things we need to talk about, because the only thing that Laura and I care about, we don't care what size it is, a 1, 5, 100, I don't care. As long as you feel good when you look in the mirror and you feel confident and you'll wear the outfit.
And I don't know when we lose that, right? Like,
I know. I don't know either.
Jaclyn tells a story all the time about, her daughter, they're shopping at Target and they come up, a sequin, it's like a sequin skirt or dress. And Jaclyn grabs a small and her 7-year-old tries it on. And it feels like a little tight. So as any mom would, you go grab a medium, right? And Jack grabs a medium, gives it to Sailor, and it feels better, right? At no point does Jaclyn say to her daughter, like, oh, it's a bigger size. Like, you would never do that. You would never do that to your
Nor
child.
does my daughter even think about it.
And she doesn't think about it. So it's like, at what point do we lose that? I don't know. But it's interesting food for thought. I think there's a lot of things that can influence that. Peer pressure, the media. honestly, I would suspect media has a pretty big influence. But it's really helping our clients find their self-esteem beyond the number that's on their clothes.
I was going to say, this is such a counterculture idea that you guys are promoting with individuals is that, we don't care what size, we just want you to feel confident. And I love how you go back into that feeling. Like that's something that I work with my coaching clients on with it when it comes to food. How does that food make you feel? I don't care what it was. How does it make you feel? Because we're feeling bodies, right? Like we are emotional bodies, whether we express it or not, it's a completely different thing. But we carry the emotions with us of ultimately how we feel throughout the day. And oftentimes, this is something you guys taught me, is our wardrobe is an expression of how we're feeling. So I love that you're asking individuals this, and you have other questions that you ask too. What are some of those other questions, or other questions like women should be thinking about as they are selecting the clothes that really highlight who they are?
When we first consult with clients and meet with them to determine like how we can help support them and potentially work together, we ask a lot about body image insecurities. And it's not a one and done conversation usually with the client. It extends throughout our time working with them and beyond. Because I think for Laura and I, it's a conversation that is a vulnerable one. And our goal is to create a very open, safe space for clients while also being very realistic in the fact that everybody has body insecurities, including Laura and I. Mm-hmm. And we believe that body insecurities don't go away. We believe that they can vary in extreme. They can vary in the parts of your body that you love or maybe are not having the best relationship with at the moment. We don't believe that there's an end destination of like, oh my gosh, I love every part of my body 100% of the time, every day. Like, we just don't believe that. We believe that there's different wavelengths of that. Mm-hmm. And so we will typically ask clients, like, what parts of your body do you love? What parts of your body do you love to show off? Do you feel comfortable showing? What parts of your body maybe are you less confident in that maybe you like to cover up with clothing? And it's interesting, out of the hundreds of clients that we have worked with, we've had one client say that she loves her face. Mm. Most clients, when we ask them what they love most about their body, they'll usually lead with what they dislike. Mm-hmm. And then when we push them to tell us what they like, they'll come up with something. But we've only had one client say her face. But I share that with you because Laura and I, it's not our job to make body insecurities go away, but it is our job, we feel as though, to normalize that conversation. And we feel as though it's very important for clients to have a trusting environment where they can openly share and not have Laura and I dismiss them, right? Mm-hmm. Like if someone says, oh, I don't like my arms, and we're like, oh my gosh, your arms are great. Even if we think that, we don't say that. It's not our place to say that. That's how they feel. And we're not just going to dismiss it. So we listen to them. And then, we typically will push them a little bit. I'll use myself as an example. Like I live in Arizona. I live in the worst state for this, but I don't like my legs, and it's really hot here over half the year. And so I have to wear a lot of like shorts or shorter types of clothing. And I don't like my legs. I'm very insecure about my legs, my thighs. And it's been really helpful for me. I talk about it with Laura a lot. And, she doesn't dismiss me and say like, Jack, your legs are fine. But she'll help me say like, okay, well, what is it about them? Okay, you don't like wearing shorts. What is it about it? Is it too tight? Do you not feel like they look right? Do you feel like you're not confident in them? Like, what is it? And then she'll help me find shorts that maybe and I'll lean into it a little bit. Like one day I'll wear shorts. I may not love it, but I'll do it. Right. And then over time, it's like, I'll do it a few more times. And I come to the realization that no one cares about my legs except me. No one's looking at me saying, why is she wearing shorts? And that is the type of exercise that we try to do with our clients. So really talk to them, understand, not dismiss them, but listen, but really try to push them where they're comfortable, getting them to the point where your insecurity is not necessarily going to go away. It could vary, but the reality is no one is looking at you thinking of why are they wearing this outfit. So it's about trying to get that person to a more comfortable place of acceptance and not moving on from it, but really challenging themselves to understand that this is kind of my thing that I need to work through on my own. And the best way to do this is to just try it.
Gosh, I love that you guys have that expectation that you're not gonna, like, none of us are gonna get to a point where we're like, yes, everything's fabulous. And it changes every freaking day, right? Like,
Every
oh,
day.
I woke up today and I feel great, but maybe this is a little bit off, or like you have lower days or whatever. But I love that you're changing that expectation because I think so often we're told that like you can get to this point where like everything's fabulous and perfect. And that's not true.
No, it is not.
Even the people that you think look amazing are probably, I'm gonna guess, 100% of the time still struggling with something.
Right.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I think we have the beauty of working with so many clients of all different shapes, sizes, male and female. And it's interesting because I think oftentimes there's a connotation that, or a belief, I should say, that somebody who is small or like typical size, like ideal size, they would have no insecurities. And the reality is, it's definitely not true. We can affirmatively tell you that that is not true. And so, oftentimes, when we do this work with clients, it's helping them see that it is not just unique to them. It is everyone feels that way, regardless of whatever perceived degree of beauty or perfection you think that they might hold within their body.
Mhm. Okay, so I've been asked this question, and I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. So, one of the things that I do with my coaching individuals, if they are struggling with their clothes, right, like in whether they've lost weight or they've gained weight, is buying clothes that fits their current body, right? And a lot of people, let's give an example of like an individual who's really struggling with their weight and they've gained some weight. They are very hesitant to actually buy the size that fits them today because they've told me, well, that means that I'm just giving up and I'm just going to get even bigger. And I have to push back on that and say, actually, it doesn't work that way. Like, once you actually accept where you are and when you feel good in the clothes that you're wearing, you actually see more progression. Is that a wrong thing to recommend? Should I be changing, or like, what do you guys say on that?
Frankly, we hear that often. Particularly, we do a lot of closet clean outs. So we have the privilege of being in the homes of our clients in their most intimate spaces, which is their closet.
Mhm.
We'll walk in, and it is not uncommon for us to hear, like, well, I don't wear 80% of it, or 80% of it is a smaller size that I might get into one day. And then we ask, well, how does that feel when you then walk into the closet and nothing fits? Well, naturally, it doesn't feel great. It does not feel great to look at all these clothes that maybe you would love to wear that you cannot wear. And what that does, good, bad, or indifferent, it creates this cycle of belief
Mm.
that just compounds over time. And it might be a month, but it usually ends up being years, right? Where we are holding on to clothes for years that are of a smaller size or size we were in college. And can you imagine that? Like that compounding belief year over year over year.
Mhm.
So I don't think, Jana, you're wrong at all in recommending that. Like, certainly there's an element of practicality, right? Where, maybe you're up 5 pounds. Yeah, you're not going to go like splurge on an entirely new wardrobe, right? Like, certainly, and I don't think anyone's recommending that. But what we are saying is you deserve to feel great in the clothes that you wear, regardless of the size that you are. And if for nothing else, it creates a positive cycle of belief because it feels good. When it doesn't feel good, it's a negative cycle of belief that will perpetuate over time.
That's so good.
And I think this can lead into other factors too, right? Like, I think when there's times where clients maybe have gained or lost weight and they're not wearing clothes that fit them as well, they tend to, and this is not everyone, this is not a blanket statement, but this is just something that we see a lot, frankly. Like, I'm sure Laura and I can do this personally. When you're in that when you're in that limbo, right? You tend not to get dressed.
Mhm.
And you tend to kind of maybe like go for sweats every day or leggings every day. And Laura and I, let us be very clear. Like we love athleisure. We are fans of athleisure. But there is a certain point to where it's like, are you putting together a very purposeful look to where you look in the mirror and you feel proud of yourself and you can go out to the grocery store or walk outside and you can hold your head up high? Or are you not getting dressed and wearing clothes that are either, that don't fit you and your confidence isn't high and you actually go to the grocery store, you go outside and you're like, gosh, I hope I don't run into anybody. And to Laura's point, like the compounding effect of that, we saw a lot of that during COVID.
Yeah.
Is really impactful. And the drain that has on self-confidence and self-esteem is just so critical, because it's like, not only do I not feel like I have clothes or I don't feel joy when I walk into my closet, but now I've stopped making the effort. And just what that does to your self-esteem over time.
I love what you said is deserve to feel good. And also, why is that so freaking scary? Right? Like, I'll just share from my experience with you guys. I was petrified. Like, there was a part where I didn't want to wear some of the stuff that you guys were saying, like the pink suit. Perfect example, right? Like, that is the perfect example. Like, I was so freaking scared of that outfit. And I was like, and then I put it on and did a poll, and everyone was like, that's amazing. That's you. And I couldn't see that for myself. But you guys saw that and other people saw that, and it scared me. Do you have other clients that
all of them?
Or okay.
Yeah, all of them. Laura, I feel like, when we'll have a client who will put on an outfit and oh my gosh, like he or she looks amazing. And like you could see them light up, right? And it's an outfit that's maybe like push them out of their comfort zone a little bit, but nothing too crazy. And I know this wasn't necessarily the case with you with your pink suit, but they'll say to us like, oh my gosh, well, where do I wear this? And we're not talking that this is like a sequin prom dress that they, like this is like just a regular outfit. And they're like, well, where am I going to wear this? And Laura and I, all the time, we say, anywhere. You're going to wear this anywhere. And I'm not saying this is you, Jana, but I think some people, it may be like so out of their comfort zone, or they feel like they have to save an outfit for a special occasion, or that they're saving it for like social permission. Whereas Laura and I really push our clients to be like, no, if you look good and you feel good, you wear it anywhere. And then you start repeating that process, and it will become so natural to you that you will do it more often than none. And then you'll start getting compliments and you'll get more and more comfortable doing it. And guess what? You'll inspire other women around you who you don't even know are watching do the same thing.
It's funny in those moments, depending on the client, but more often than not, we'll directly ask like, what drives your fear of not wanting to be seen? Like what, because that's truly really what it is. It's like, what is the fear that makes you want to shy away from being seen? Whether it's seen different or just be seen radiantly, being seen, like just being seen. What is that? And oftentimes, like you don't get an answer because it requires a lot of introspection. There's something that drives that fear of being seen in some way. And then our job is to help our clients with, here's how we see you. Because oftentimes they just need a reflection back to them, right? And so like we serve as that reflection, like here's what we see. And it's like, okay, right? Like it helps give that little bit of courage and erase a little bit of that fear of being seen.
How did you guys get to this point, right? Like you were corporate dropouts or however you term it, and you wanted to do your own thing. But how did you get to this point where, right? Like just this conversation, I've gotten goosebumps several times. This is a very healing conversation. You guys create very safe spaces to allow people to express themselves in so many different ways without right, like you said, like if someone has an insecurity, we don't dismiss it. When you say like, oh no, you don't, that's dismissal, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't actually accept it in to say like, hey, why do you feel that way? Right. And like get curious. But like, how did you guys get to this point to where you are helping women and men really overcome so many different obstacles?
As much as we joke that we're corporate America like dropouts, I think Jaclyn and I both would say we couldn't be more thankful for that experience. Between the two of us, we worked in corporate for, gosh, 35 years. And we have led and coached hundreds, maybe 1,000, honestly, men and women during our career. And it became increasingly clear to us as we worked with them that it oftentimes wasn't the competency build that you needed to help coach them on. And by competency, I mean like it wasn't like, oh, how to be a better presenter or how to do ABC skill better. Like certainly there was a component of that. The bigger work when we worked with people is really around self-esteem and self-confidence. And by the way, those are two different things, right? Like self-esteem is the belief in the words that you tell yourself when you look in the mirror every day. Whether that's about how you look or who you are as a person or whatever it is, whatever thought or belief. And then self-confidence is built by building those skills and repeating them over time. And we really found that working with men and women, that was often the gap, really in the self-esteem space, like just believing that they could. And they needed that reflection to showcase like, hey, somebody does have that belief in you and ability in your capabilities or belief in your capabilities, right? So I share that because I really do credit our experience working with all of those men and women to help them see a better and brighter future for them when they professionally. And the clothes were just the cherry on top. Like certainly clothes helped with an element of self-esteem, but it really started with that internal belief.
Yeah.
And I think like Laura and I, like this is stuff that the style stuff, like people just don't know. And I don't mean that as
Yeah.
right. I mean, like when you're in corporate America or even when you're non-corporate, right? Like you go through like, there's new hire training and you learn how to like set up your 401k and like, do all of this stuff. But it's like, and you learn over time, like shifting from professional, you learn like, okay, these are the right foods that I need to eat, or like, these are like my preferences when it comes to food. This is where I like to travel. Like you learn all these different things, right? Your preferences. You learn how to run your finances, right? But then it's like, has anyone ever told you or like what colors actually look best with your hair, skin, and your eyes so that you know what colors of clothes that should fill your closet? Or how to dress for your body type. We call it a shine size, like how to dress for your unique and beautiful body. Like, did anyone ever teach you how to do that? Or like, should I wear more gold jewelry or should I wear silver? Or like, what shoes should I buy? Like to go with these looks? Like if I don't want to spend a ton of money, like what are some foundational pieces? Like, social media has a very like non-personal influence, but like it was Laura and I that were like, okay, we want to be able to help men and women with like kind of this basic stuff when it comes to style, because no one teaches you how to do that.
What has been the influence of social media?
Oh gosh, I could go off all of this, but okay. First of all, like Laura and I, we have like Shine has a social media presence, and we try to use our social media as our goal is like pure education. So we'll share our outfits, not like, oh my gosh, go buy this. We'll share it of like, no, this is why we styled it the way we did to teach, right? So our social media is there to like not only like share what we do and share like testimonials from our clients and share experiences from what our Shine style sessions look like, but it is really from an educational place. And I think putting our social media aside, the way that Laura and I look at social media is like social media is out there as guidance, but it is not personalized advice, right? And so you have to take it realizing that it's maybe not personal to you, right? And so when it comes to fashion, we use social media for, to get inspiration from people and to see what trends are out there. And we read, about different products coming out and follow different retailers to see what they're doing. But it's pure inspiration and knowledge for us. Like it's not personal to us. And so the way that Laura and I look at it and how we tell our clients is like, there's going to be influencers out there pushing outfits or pushing like, you should buy this capsule wardrobe and these 4 pair of jeans and these 7 tops and these shoes. And the reality is like, the idea of a capsule wardrobe as an example is a great one. But if you're not buying it in the colors that best suit you and you're not buying it from retailers that best fit your body in your budget, that are best representative of your lifestyle, you're buying a capsule wardrobe for a number on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And so we tell people to, we have certain influencers that we follow, but it's truly about inspiration. And when you are confident in like Laura and I, like we know how to show our body types, we know our colors. So we can look at things on the internet products and say like, wow, that's an awesome outfit. It may not work for me. Mm-hmm. And then we can move on. Or we're like, wow, that outfit's awesome. I'm going to get it in this color instead of that color because this color works better for me. Right? Like you almost have like lenses that you can then like look at things on the internet with and kind of take it or leave it depending on what works for you. It's just building your own confidence when it comes to style and empowering you to make those decisions instead of getting stuck with a closet of like, yeah, I bought that off an influencer. Oh yeah, I don't even know why I have that. Yeah, I bought that because I saw that on an influencer, right?
Yeah, which we hear all the time, by the way.
Yeah, we hear all the time.
Yeah,
all the time.
Yeah, I love that because it really shifts who holds the power in that equation, right? Like the individual is now able to navigate based on what works
yeah.
best for them, not society or that influencer saying, here, one, I don't even know you, but here's what you should wear, right?
That's right.
And it's really being able to, that's where the empowerment comes in because that person can now navigate it for their own body and for what is going to fit best.
That's right. Exactly. And that is our goal. And people end up spending less money because they can leave items or they can take it or leave it. And that's, I think, another myth that Laura and I really try to dispel is that style is available at any budget. It is not about luxury items. It is about finding items that are within your budget that fit your lifestyle. And so when people work with us, they actually tend to spend less money over time because they're not looking to fill these gaps in their closet because they already have the gaps filled, but then they don't get sucked in by social influences.
Yeah, it's a total energy shift because it also changes the energy that the person is experiencing, and it also changes the attraction aspect. So you guys actually warned of this as far as like the attraction of like people are going to notice, people are going to take note. And it's interesting because they're taking note all the time, right? But it shifts the rooms that you're in, the people that are attracted to you, the interactions that you have. It's a whole dynamic that is part of, I think, why you guys are so successful.
And it's, as you say that, Jana, it's not the outfit that's doing it. It's the person that's wearing it.
Okay, what happens? What happens during that?
When you wear something that fits well, that's number one. Looks great because it fits well. It's the right color for you. You show up different. I think everyone that's listening to this right now can think of a time where they wore an outfit that made them feel like $1 million. We want people to feel like $1 million as often as possible. And when you feel like $1 million, you walk like you're worth $1 million plus, like you just feel great. And when you feel great, you show up different. That's not the outfit. The outfit is the tool. Yeah, or the size, the tool. But it's you that's actually shifting your energy because of an outfit that fits really well and makes you feel great. And so it's helping people realize that at the end of the day, like you are the vessel for that, right? We'll oftentimes have people that come and they'll say, hey, I need a really, really great outfit for this event. Can you shop for me? Frankly, those are not the right clients for us. You can go to a Nordstrom or a Saks or name any store and get support by a sales associate to shop for you on a really, really great outfit. The clients that are really ready to be styled are ones that are looking to feel great in their body and leveraging clothes as a tool versus clothes as the mechanism to build their self-esteem. That's not going to happen, right? So it's helping people see the flip of the reverse, that they're really in control. They're the vessel. The clothes are just the cherry on top.
Yeah. So I want to be mindful of your guys' time. And I'm thinking about the individuals that are tuning in, and if they're like, wow, I really want to like revamp my my wardrobe, right? Like they want to go all in, or they really resonate with some of these things from a size perspective, from a color palette perspective, from just overall like self-esteem and self-confidence perspective. For someone that's really struggling with their body image or the image of themselves, where would you say they start to really start moving that forward or elevating that for themselves?
I think it starts, and we do this work both in like corporate groups as well as individuals, but you got to start first with figuring out what is your vision for yourself from an image perspective. And what we mean by that is, how do you want to be perceived? And that's not a way to say like, oh, what people think because you matters in terms of building your self-esteem. That's not what we're saying. We do believe that what people think of you matters because we all have relationships and we all do business and et cetera. Like there is a practical reality to that. But when you put out in the world the way in which you want to come across, you can be much more strategic and thoughtful about how to achieve that. And oftentimes people don't give that thought, right? Where, okay, I want to be seen as ABC qualities.
Mm-hmm.
Then it requires you, like from a step perspective, to then take a look back and say, well, am I hitting that or not?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a gap between the way people perceive me versus the way in which I want to be perceived? Because the reality is you do have some control over that. And by some, a lot.
Yeah.
So it's really, really helping people get to that place of assessing that for themselves. And, I think we've all like are guilty of the fact that maybe we just get up every day and get dressed and go about our day without giving maybe a lot of thought of how we're being perceived and the role that plays in our self-esteem. But if we just gave it a little bit more with some level of strategy and consideration, the benefit that that brings back to you is tremendous.
Mm-hmm. I love that too, because there, is this notion of like, oh, it doesn't really matter what other people think.
Mhm.
And there's a part of that that, yes, is certainly true. And there's another part of it, like you guys say, that no, it really does matter because that influences so many other opportunities that could be either coming into your space or not coming into your space because of how people do perceive you. And I
Yeah.
love that you guys highlight that of the reality of what it is. It's like, yeah, we don't want you to do this for the validation of other people, and
Right.
you
Yeah.
get to set the vision that you want for yourself. But yes, does it match? Because ideally that's where alignment comes in, is that you've created that vision for yourself and others can see that vision in which you created, you drove, and there's that alignment factor. So that makes so much sense. That's a big task too.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not
Yeah.
like it gets it perfectly every day.
And I think we look for clients that are, like you, Jana, like very open-minded,
Mhm.
vulnerable, willing to do the work and who trust us and with the process. Like we're not personal shoppers, right? Like we're not just gonna go buy what you think we should buy, right? Like we're going to really spend some time with you and ask you really deep questions and figure out the best outfits for you that can push you a little bit while also making you feel really comfortable. And lastly, that is just realistic to your lifestyle, right? Like, so that you do reach for the outfits in your in the closet that we buy for you, because then you'll do it over and over again. And you'll just feel really good about yourself when you look in the mirror. And that's our goal.
Yeah. You change the cycle of belief.
That's right.
So
That's right.
that's super powerful. Well, I mean, I could talk with you guys forever, and you guys have just been such a impactful part of my own journey. So I just want to thank you again, and thank you for sharing more about what you do, who you are, and how women can really start shifting that internal narrative that helps not only build their self-esteem but also their self-confidence to truly shine. So thank you so much.
Oh,
Oh, Jana, I just have to say, like, when we first met you and we first styled you for the event that you did where you ended up wearing the pink suit. And I remember just like wanting to meet you in person because like you had cats at your house and you were just like so warm and nice. And I was like, I want to go hang out with her. To watch you from that moment to where you are now, Laura and I always say like, when you shine, I shine, we all shine. And you truly are the definition of that, and how you have brought others along with you and up with you, like continuously pushing yourself while also just being really vulnerable and really realistic in life. And just like, so it has just been like, honestly, such a joy for Laura and I to watch you. And we talk about you a lot. Like, just have you seen Jana, or look at this? Like, and now that you're getting your voice out there even more with this podcast, I know like I could speak for Laura. Like, we're just honored to be a part of it, to witness it. And now to see you do this is just, it's really beautiful. So thank you for having us.
One of my favorite quotes is, "A rising tide lifts all boats," and more women need to be lifting each other up and allowing one another to shine. So I think, again, just thank you so much.
I love that quote. Thank you, Jana.
This has been Talkin' Shit. If you like this episode, please give it a thumbs up or leave a review on the Apple Podcast app. If you want more episodes, click that subscribe button. And if you want to learn more, visit healthwins.org. Talkin' Shit is produced and hosted by me, Jana. This production is also made possible by the Community Media Access Collaborative. Learn more at cmac.tv. See you next time.